The Federal Bureau of Investigation and U.S. Department of Homeland Security are warning that a copycat terrorist attack could occur similar to the New Year's Day New Orleans attack. The public service announcement urges Americans to remain vigilant and for those living overseas who encounter kidnapping or hostage situations to call a toll-free number or fill out an online form. The FBI and DHS are concerned about possible copycat or retaliatory attacks due to the persistent appeal of vehicle ramming as a tactic for aspiring violent extremist attackers, the PSA states. Previous attackers inspired by foreign terrorist organizations who have conducted vehicle attacks in the United States and abroad have used rented, stolen, and personally owned vehicles, which are easy to acquire. Some have used additional weapons, such as firearms and knives, to attack individuals after the vehicle has stopped. Additionally, attackers may attempt to conceal and preposition improvised explosive devices to supplement a vehicle attack. Targets have included pedestrians, law enforcement or military members, and crowded public venues, including festivals and commercial centers, which generally are accessible from roadways. The PSA urges members of the public to remain vigilant about terrorist attacks, report suspicious activity to local FBI field offices, and call 911 to report emergencies. For U.S. citizens living overseas, the PSA encourages them to report missing persons or individuals taken as hostages by calling the Department of State's Overseas Citizens Services toll-free hotline at 888-407-4747 or complete a crisis intake form. Both agencies were unsuccessful in negotiating the return of American hostages held by Hamas. Hostages who are still alive remain in captivity since October 7, 2023. The Biden administration's toll-free hotline and online form did not help them, critics argue. President-elect Donald Trump has warned Hamas to release all hostages before he's sworn into office next week or there will be hell to pay. Islamic terrorist incidents significantly increased under the Biden administration, and the greatest number on the U.S. terrorist watch list were apprehended trying to illegally enter the country, the Center Square reported. Terrorist incidents increased nationwide, including an Iranian man in Massachusetts linked to murders of U.S. service members and an ISIS-linked Houston man allegedly planning a 9/11-style terrorist attack, among others. Last year, FBI Director Christopher Wray warned about an ISIS smuggling ring illegally crossing the border and of increased security risks posed by China and Iran. Prior to the election, hundreds of members of ISIS were confirmed to have illegally entered the U.S., with officials saying vetting wasn't occurring. Congressional Republicans demanded answers about terrorist threats, including the U.S. House Committee on Homeland Security, which published a report citing more than 50 jihadist cases in 29 states under the Biden administration, the Center Square reported. Foreign jihadist networks and homegrown violent extremists represent a persistent terror threat to America, it said, citing the Biden administration's chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal and the spillover effects of the October 7 Hamas terrorist attacks against our ally Israel to the vulnerabilities caused by our wide-open borders. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican Texas, called for greater northern border security due Hamas members entering from Canada and sounded the alarm as Jewish Americans, he and others were targeted by pro-Hamas rioters, the Center Square reported. Last year, within a few months, 3 assassination attempts were foiled against Trump, including by an Iran-linked Pakistani and Iranian assassination plot. In September, Cruz warned, "We are living on borrowed time" in an interview with the Center Square. At the time, he said the U.S. was at a greater risk for a major terrorist attack than we have been at any point since September 11, 2001 because of Biden administration policies. Cruz demanded answers on the incredible lapses in vetting and screening illegal aliens at airports, adding, "It is only a matter of time before another major terrorist attack is likely to occur." As Cruz's demands for increased security went unanswered, DHS, the FBI and the National Counterterrorism Center published resources to help mitigate potential risks from a variety of threat actors. Months after Cruz's warning, and 2 weeks after the New Orleans attack, the agencies issued the PSA, stating, "Due to the highly personal nature of radicalization to violence and mobilization to violence, it can be difficult to assess specific characteristics indicating the intent of U.S.-based violent extremists to conduct violence." Federal agencies also published a U.S. Violent Extremist Mobilization Indicators resource to help the public identify all ideologically motivated, U.S.-based violent extremists, and a bystander awareness e-learning resource to understand targeted violence prevention.